Hello, everybody. It's Friday, and that means it's time for another topic of the week. So, no big topic from last week, although I do want to say I put out a video called In Defense of Small Armies, and there were a lot of people who responded with a lot of good thoughts on that. So, it sort of worked as a pseudo topic of the week. I didn't link videos in it because it wasn't the topic of the week, but a lot of people had very good responses. Star Mini Gaming talked about it, and Victor had a good discussion on it. There was, and really in the comments of that, there was a lot of good talk about playing to the size of the army that you want. And that, I think, is really the main point that I tried to make, was that uh, you shouldn't be captive to previous conceptions. And I mention all of that not just because I always talk about the previous one, but because it leads into this week's topic of the week. So, previous conceptions and sort of getting stuck in the anchoring of them. What am I talking about? GW and their involvement in the community. So obviously we had some big news drop this week out of GAMA, which is the Game Manufacturers Association conference, and it was out this week. It actually just wrapped up today, and the Games Workshop had a talk, had a whatever you want to say, like a I don't know what the word is. Whatever. They had a session. There you go. Let's say session called Building the Community. And out of that, of course, the news story came of that they're going to get back into organized events. They're going to provide prize support. They're going to have narrative-based campaigns going at both a friendly local game store level all the way up to convention and tournament involvement, which I thought was really interesting. And of course, Mitch already made a video in response to specifically sort of the other bullet point that was at the bottom, that somewhere in there they had mentioned like points or something. And if you want to see some discussion about that, you can go watch Mitch's video. I tend to agree with his point that we're not suddenly going to have points for Age of Sigmar. The internet blew up with that comment, but it was a lot of telephone, I suspect. And I think that's a lot of air about the less important part. Many months ago in Topic of the Week, we had a topic about GW's communication baby steps and the small things they were doing to improve their communication. And to me, that's the real thing worth talking about. Okay? Think of the name of that session alone. Building the community, right? We talk about the community in these videos and on our channels a lot because it is a big deal. It's a big deal to me to be part of this community, which I think is awesome. And I think that the fact that they went to the largest industry expo for this type of game in the country, and they had a talk there about building a community and the steps they're taking to do it, speaks volumes. Okay? And the more interesting aspects to me are, one, they care about the community, like trying to build a community, getting more involved. Two, they did this in the same week that they reopened their Facebook page and re-engaged through Facebook. And three, that they want to do these ongoing narrative campaigns, which is, as we've discussed in previous videos, I think where Age of Sigmar really shines. And they want to do that for both Age of Sigmar and 40k, which I think is awesome, because 40k can also do these great sort of ongoing story campaigns, and it's a great way to make different models be viable in different fashions than just playing the standard old battles. So I think what we should talk about for this week's topic, and what I would love to see your thoughts on, for sure, either in the comments below or through a response video, as always, is what do you think about Games Workshop re-engaging with the community? It really, to me, back in that video, back in the baby steps one, we talked about how we were seeing these little things and we hoped it would continue to evolve. And I think it has. They're getting involved with friendly local game stores and giving prize support for them to hold local events. They're showing up at these conventions. They were talking about doing tournaments. We saw some of the swag and prize stuff that they'll give out for one of the first 40k campaigns. And they've just having Facebook and trying to engage and stay positive and that kind of thing. To me, this is a sea change in attitude. And I don't think it is any more baby steps. They're on to taking full steps on the road to being sort of a more engaged company in the community of fans that support their product. And I think it's important. So what I want to talk about in this video is, and what I want to see from you is, what one, do you think it's a good thing? Are you happy to see them re-engaging? Two, would you be interested in like a local event at your store, or if Games Workshop did something, would that draw you out? Is that a motivator to you that it would be from Games Workshop instead of from, somebody else who might also be just as good, but does that mean anything to you if Games Workshop is hosting the event? And three, what's the next step you hope to see from them after this? Okay? I think those are all good topics, and I'll sort of take them in turn myself. One, yes, I think it is a very good thing that they're doing this. I want to see more and more and more of this, okay? Because I think in the end, a lot of the vitriol and negativity that Games Workshop manages to get is because they make a lot of the same decisions that most companies make. Most game companies make the same sorts of decisions they do. If you look at Wizards and a lot of other big companies like that. The difference is that with those companies, there's a lot of community engagement, and they try their best to sort of help people through it. I mean, it's change management, right? And there are positive and friendly faces on the other end. It's not a big faceless corporation of shadow. And I think that really helps. So I definitely want to see more of that and see this continue. Would I be more interested in a Games Workshop event? For me, honestly, that answer is no. No more than I would be otherwise. I think that the grassroots tournament scene and stuff like that was the best thing to come out of their disengagement. Though I am super stoked about the prize support thing. I think that's great. Because it can be hard for smaller local game stores to absorb the cost of, giving away free stuff. I mean, I know people who have run game stores. I worked at a very small game store when I was a teenager, and your margins are, it's not exactly the business to get into if you're trying to get rich quick. Let's just say it that way. It's always, people who own game stores, it's a thing of passion. You do it because you love the hobby and hobbying. So I think that's the big one there. And three, what do I want to see them do next? I'll tell you what, if I had my single pick, it would be to start like a press ganger type of thing, right? Something like that. Reach out to members of the community, and I'm not asking for this to be myself. In fact, I would prefer it isn't. But reach out to members of the community to go lead events, like Mitch is doing with the Gamer Grunts. I think that's awesome. I want to see people like Mitch who are willing to get out there to engage, to teach new people, get even more support from the mothership. Because I think ultimately that builds your community at that grassroots level. That gets new people in the door, new people buying your products, and more importantly, new people for me to play against, which is what I care about, right? So, that's the topic this week. GW's continuing evolution back into the community. Look very much forward to your responses, what you think about this Titanic news and these big changes that as I said, I think we've been seeing the baby steps all along, and we're starting to get up to some full-fledged walking here. As always, your responses will be linked down below, so you can always return to this video and find all the great responses. Looking forward to those, and as always, we'll see you next time.